Hello, everyone. Hey, Mark. I know I'm probably doing this all wrong. I'm trying to pin a, yeah, see, that was all wrong. In the meantime, you all, while I figure out Instagram, enjoy the soca in the back. Boom. Hello, Jamkana. We are going to start. Oh yes, thanks for nice lipstick. We're going to start in a couple minutes. For now, yeah, enjoy the music. We'll give folks a chance to join. I'm clearly not prepared now. I gotta go get the wines out of the fridge. 1 second. There we go. Even though you guys don't no harmonica playlist, no. Even though you guys don't have the particular wines we're going to talk about tonight, I do encourage you to pour a glass of something that you can sip along with us as we talk about wine and flavors and pairing and all that wonderful stuff. Hi, Kitchen Butterfly, how are you? So yeah, pour something in your glass. Over my shoulder, it was my birthday on Monday, so I've got like a bevy of wonderful birthday flowers. People know what makes me smile, and like flowers are like my thing. Hi! I wish I could actually keep flowers alive for a long period of time. If anybody has any like books I should be reading to improve my flower maintenance, please feel free to send that along. There we go. I'm gonna start shortly. Anybody else loving the soca this year? Just a simple comment, let me know. Are you familiar with the soca that's out this year? Some good stuff coming out, and at Spring and the Spice you'll get a chance to hear some of this and some other genres of music, of course, obviously. So, okay, let's see if we're getting a group of people joining. So I'm going to turn down the music and get started. Although, you know, I literally could sit here for an hour with you all and listen to soca. This is just, you know, I love the music that much, as you guys all know. Anyways, I'm going to start, and I'm going to chat just a little bit before I bring on my guests. So, as you guys may or may not know, my name is Beverly Crandon, and I'm the founder of Spice Food and Wine Group. And this year we're doing a wonderful Island Girl I Am Seeing Your Request, and I'm going to bring you on in a second once I finish letting folks know what we're actually doing here today. So this year, Spice Food and Wine Group, we're doing an outdoor food and wine festival at Stacked Market the end of the month, September, Jesus, what month are we in? May 28th, you guys, and I haven't even had a drink yet. May 28th, we're doing an outdoor food and wine festival at Stacked Market, but the focus of this particular festival is different than other ones that you would have gone to, whereas we're bringing underrepresented ethnicities and cuisines when it comes to wine pairing and having those be our food exhibitors. So for lack of a better term, only ethnic food exhibitors, and they'll be side by side with wine exhibitors. I'm happy to say that of our wines, 90% of them will be local. I think it's important that we support local. We know there's that movement, and the movement for a good reason. And also I find that a lot of people are not familiar with the wines that they can travel an hour and a half or 2 hours and explore and get. For example, Ontario does, like, we can compete with our sparkling wine globally. I could bring my sparkling wine to France and compete with some of the cremants that are there. We do wonderful sparklings. We do wonderful gamay, wonderful pinots, wonderful Cabernet Francs. And then people take those grapes, those red grapes, and turn them into rosés. And you're going to get a chance to try all of those at the festival. So what we're doing today is I have two wonderful guests who are going to come on and speak today. I've sent them some wines from the Spring Into Spice mixed case. You may or may not know that every time we do one of these things, so we did Fall Into Spice and there was a mixed case. And now the Spring Into Spice and there's a mixed case. The mixed case, we work with one of our partners, the sommelier, but the wines are all curated by myself. So I go through, we taste a bunch of things, and I try to pick wines that I know are going to pair wonderfully with the foods that we, that a lot of us do in terms of our preparation style, where we may season or marinate something for a longer period of time. So the food is going to have some wonderful and rich and, decadent flavors. Decadent to me because that's my culture, flavors. So the wines that I've picked are wines that I know for sure will go with that. And then I'm kind of pushing the envelope this year, and I've added two really interesting wines, one of which we're going to talk about. So I'm going to bring on my guests, who I will introduce shortly, so you can meet them. As I mentioned, they have two wines out of the mixed case, and the whole idea is I want to get their perspectives on what they would pair this wine with, what does it remind them of from their culture, and then some thoughts, general thoughts about the wines in the mixed case. Not only is this great to understand what's in the mixed case, but it's also wonderful to give you an understanding of what you can expect to find when you come to Spring Into Spice, the festival. And I've pinned the springintospice.com link here in our conversation. So for those of you who don't have tickets yet, you can do so. So I've just, Island Girl sent you a request to come live. And then, oh, hello.
Hi.
Hey, Raquel.
Hello.
Now
How's my volume?
Oh, wonderful. Awesome. Now I'm just looking for Plate and Palate, who is our other guest, Vanessa. I want to get her on here. Vanessa, if you are here, just give us a boo. Give me a sec here. This is where I need a DJ so I can be playing music while this is happening.
Music in the background.
Right? But I am the DJ. Oh, Vanessa! Hello!
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Girl, I was dancing to that music. I wanted you to put it back on.
Right? I know. I was tempted to start to
I know.
Blow the whistle. Okay, so my two guests are here. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to do this with you guys tonight. But first, I'm going to start by asking you to tell the people who are here with us a little bit about you. Vanessa, I'll start with you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vanessa, otherwise known as Plate and Palate. I just love wine. I'm a wine enthusiast. Just love what I can learn from wine, and I've learned so much from Bev and many others. And I also have wanted to dive a lot more into how wine is going to pair with the food that we grew up eating. And so I do a lot of that as well. And so I'm so glad when I see Bev running these kind of events, because it brings all those things together, and it's going to be a good time as always.
Awesome. And Vanessa, so you guys know, has done a bunch of risers. She's cooked Caribbean food. I think the last one you did was chow mein.
Chicken chow mein.
And paired it with wine.
Yeah.
And Vanessa has a really interesting, and I would say advanced palate in terms of picking up flavors and notes and stuff. So I gave her, I think, a daring wine, one of the daring wines in the case, to actually review and talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Raquel, Chef Raquel Fox.
Hey.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Would you mind letting the wonderful people here on Instagram land know a bit about you?
Okay, well, hello everyone. My name is Chef Raquel Fox. otherwise known as your island girl. And I am a culinary instructor at George Brown College. I designed a Caribbean class there, as well as I'm an expert chef at City Line and as well as Breakfast Television. I'm an author of the very first Bahamian cookbook, Dining in Paradise, in over 30 years. And that was about now, I would say about 4 years ago. So I did a nationwide media tour, and I'm a former restaurateur. I've owned a restaurant called the Wine Lounge Bahamas, and we received rave reviews by USA Today magazine as one of the 10 best lounges in the Bahamas. And I'm so excited about tonight because this is what I do. This is my element. I love pairing our cuisine with wine and also teaching a little bit of wine education and letting people know that, to just experiment with wines and no one can really tell you what you're tasting. Have fun with it.
Exactly.
And it's right. So
Bang on.
it's not meant to be difficult or challenging. Just have fun with wines, and that's what we want to do tonight. It's not going to be like Beverly says, a nerd event.
No,
And I
yeah,
love
I
your
gave you guys.
outfit. You're so festive.
Thank you.
I love it.
I gave my guests strict warning that this is not a nerd fest. It truly
No.
is. Us
Right?
drinking wine and understanding from our perspective and our background what we think this wine would pair nicely with. A lot of times people tell you what the wine pairs nicely with.
Yeah.
And there are some basic rules, don't get me wrong, that make sense. But a lot of times some of those rules are made by people who don't understand your cuisine, and how you particularly cook it or how you're supposed to cook it. So I think this is neat because, again, this is exactly what we want people to do at Spring Into Spice at the end of the month. So before we jump into the wines, I want to ask a question to both of you. And Raquel, I'm going to start with you. What would you be if you were a spice or a seasoning? What would you be?
Oh, honey, allspice.
She's a good blend of all spices.
Right?
That's a good answer.
My big
I love it.
personality, and I love flavor, so I would be allspice.
I love it.
That's awesome. Vanessa, how about you?
I think I've got this little bit of sweet in me and I've got this little bit of spice. So I feel like something like mango achar, or if I was thinking about a food like a tamarind ball, where you get a little bit of that kick, but it's nice and sweet.
Oh, I like this. I like this. That should be your new handle,
Yeah.
Tamrina.
Yeah. Mango achar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite fruit, by the way. Mango.
Yeah.
Can't
Oh,
get enough.
no.
I know. Especially, I'm unfortunately allergic to mango, but if I cook it, so I curry mango
Hmm.
oftentimes, and that I can eat fine. So I
Hmm.
should dig into why I'm allergic to that. Let's go into the wines. What you guys are here for. I'm going to start with you. Would you mind just sharing what wine you have from the mixed case?
Yes. So I have the Dilly Moscato Giallo Frizzante.
Yes.
So this is a yellow muscat from Veneto, um, and it's a pet nat. So it's a wine that has been further fermented in the bottle. So it'll give a little bit of fizziness to the wine. But yeah, that's what I've got.
Yeah, and so I call it one of the daring wines because, pet nat for people who are in wine is like a thing, and a lot of the hipsters and cool kids drink pet nat because it's like new. Although it's not new, like this style of winemaking is years and years and years old, hundreds of years old. Because when you look at how pet nat is made, right, like during fermentation, the wine is bottled, and then of course the causes the yeast eat the sugar, it causes alcohol, and the byproduct of that is CO2, which traps the bubbles in the bottle. And so imagine early days of winemaking, all the techniques that we have today and the processes were not necessarily in place. And so you would find pet nats just naturally be a thing that would happen, right?
Yeah.
But pet nats, especially this one, because it's low intervention, organic, vegan, like all of those good things that we look for in our food, it's in this wine. And so sometimes you get more volatile or earthy notes in something like this. But you tell me, what did you think when you tried it?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing you kind of notice is the color, right? And that cloudiness in the bottle. And I mean, you get the yeast still in the bottle, of course, at the bottom, and that imparts obviously a nice, wonderful nutty flavor. But there was so much going on when I started to smell this wine. There was just a ton of I'm getting a lot of floral and golden apple, like a lot of the golden apple, those yellow kind of fruits. Some stone fruit, but what's interesting is things like passion fruit. Oh Lord, don't drop it.
I know, I
Passion
almost dropped my
fruit,
glass.
yeah. um, and peaches and things like that. But there's a bit of funkiness to this wine. There's not
100%.
a bit. There's a lot of funkiness to the wine, but and honey. Honey is another thing I get, right?
Yeah. This wine for sure has a great like citrus notes, a great orange blossom.
Mm-hmm.
White flowers are also there when you get
Yeah.
under the funkiness. But I will tell you something about funkiness in food and wine pairing. Um, the funkiness usually means it comes with a lot of complexity on the palate, which I like. Great
Mm-hmm.
acidity, great texture. And when it
Yes.
comes to pairing food and wine, like texture is really big for me. Acidity is really big for me to make sure you're cleansing your palate and breaking down some of the food items for a better mouthfeel. And people will smell a funky wine and be like, "Oh God, no!"
Oh
But
no, you
what
have to.
you
That's your sign to get into it,
Yeah.
because then you're gonna go, oh wait, there's something here I want to dive into.
yeah. So let me ask you, if you were to pair this with food, what would you do? What would you think?
So something that's got bite like this to me, and that astringency from the skin contact, which you don't always get. I want texture, not only flavor. So there's this recipe my dad actually introduced me to from a chef named, he has I guess a YouTube page called Ainsley's Caribbean Kitchen, but he makes these green banana rosties. So he shaves raw green banana, mixes it with Scotch bonnet pepper, green onion, lemon juice, makes it into a rosti, which is like a fritter, fries it, and then he puts avocado, smashed avocado with salt fish,
Oof.
more Scotch bonnet pepper, and onion on top. So
Ugh.
just that, like, I think there's some creaminess. Obviously, the creaminess from the avocado, for me, will balance out the bite and the acidity, but that texture and that greenness in the green banana, I feel like I want mellow greenness. The other dish I thought about was bora and shrimp and potato.
Oh wow, Bora! I
Because
haven't heard someone
bora,
talk about Bora in a while.
because bora, again, mellow greenness, right? Like it's not a strong, like a broccoli. And then the textures of dal, just that texture and smoothness, and then the saltiness from the shrimp. So I just feel like you need that saltiness too with something like this. I really, really think you don't have those competing flavors, right? Because this is
Yeah.
strong, like this is strong. You don't want it to dominate, but you don't want to dominate it either.
Yeah. One of the things that's beneficial with pet nat, which is in the case, and you guys again, when you smell it, don't get turned off. You have to try it.
You do.
Is a lot of times, to me, they drink like a strong beer.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of times people talk about how beer is a wonderful food and wine pairing, pairing drink. Sorry, when you have food. And so I find a pet nat in the summer on the patio with a nice chill. Like there's so many things you can do with this. So yeah, thank you for that. For people who don't know what bora is, Vanessa, would you mind just describing that?
Yeah, I mean, if you've been to an Asian grocery store, they often call it like Vietnamese long bean. It's a long green bean, essentially. It's waxy in texture, and you can either cook it where you can leave a little bit of that bite if you want that texture, or you really cook it down so that it doesn't compete in texture with other things you've got in the dish. So yeah, it's just a long green bean, essentially, like really long.
Awesome. You see, this is why you guys are here, because we get to talk about things like Bora and dog
Hmm.
and wine. It's
And
wonderful,
saltfish and green banana and
right?
all of it.
Chef Raquel, I'm coming to you next in your wine. Um,
Okay.
Now I'm hoping. Well, can you at least tell the people first about your Island Girl sauces?
Okay, so as a matter of fact, I made my dish, and I'm jumping ahead here, based
Oh
on
wow, look at you.
based on my Bahamas steam sauce. Now, this sauce is my grandmother slow steamed beautiful sauce, and steamed sauce is really a zesty tomato-based sauce, and it is the Bahamas national sauce. We use this on everything. Seafood, like I have a seafood medley going on here, and we use it on chicken, on pork chop, on oxtails, everything. This sauce has just a well balanced flavor of um, salty, a little sweet, spices, not really heat forward, but you get
Hmm.
like just a little hint there that balance out everything.
Hmm.
And this is why I feel that this Chenin Blanc that I have here, which is lovely, I nicknamed it Summer Breeze because this is my summer
Oh
jam.
wow.
And it pairs just beautifully with
Yeah.
tangy flavors, right? And
Yes.
typically with wines, what you want is, pairing qualities that the wine have in it, the same as the food that you have. And Bahamian cuisine is very citrusy. We cook with a lot of
Hmm.
citrus. And as a matter of fact, hence this tomato base and the acidity with the tomatoes and this beautiful citrusy wine. There's some stone fruits in this as well. When I go ahead and just give this a swirl and just really take it in, there's a hint of floral, like a jasmine. When my windows are open and I'm smelling a little jasmine going on, a little mineral, but I'm telling you, the flavor just pops when I dive into this smothered tomato based dish with all of this seafood. It is so yummy. I have some coconut rice with this too, and I can't tell you guys how delicious this is paired together.
Okay,
So
so we're coming to your house after this then,
come on
right?
Right?
over. Listen, Caribbean families, we cook big pots, all right? Just in case someone show up
Oh,
at the
just in
door,
case someone shows up. That's right.
Exactly.
you have to always cook more than, your family member because it's rude to turn anyone
No
away.
doubt. That's
So
right.
I have it right here. I got you covered, Vanessa and
Good.
Beverly. But these sauces, I'm so proud of it because I just really launched it this year. Last month we started in Loblaw, so guys,
Oh
please check
wow.
it out. Support nationwide. I'm in all of the Loblaws, some Zehrs. You can check out my website at Island Girl, spelled with a U, foods.com. I take the liberty to put this recipe is on the site as I made it. I put it up today, so you'll have the
Nice.
recipe. And this sauce, all of my sauces are finished sauce. I have a mango jerk as well and a flavor pepper sauce because sometimes people run from Caribbean cooking simply because they think, oh, it's fire, it's gonna burn my palate. But
Yeah.
no, we're all about well balanced flavors here. We're not trying to have our ears ringing or anything like that.
Yeah.
Unless, unless you're wanting us a beach egg, then it's how hot you want it. We
Yeah.
would consider. But yeah, it's all a balance of flavor. So the pepper sauce is very fruit forward. I have some apricots and apples, some shadow benny. It's very herbaceous. Let me tell you, it is just smack your mama good. The only thing in the
You-
Caribbean, our mama smack back. So
You're you're making my mouth water.
I know. I know. But
Um,
I mean, that Shannon would really blend well with those two dishes, right? As
right?
well, that green banana and the bora and shrimp and potato
Yes,
it
with
yes,
the
would.
it's
acidity.
just absolutely lovely. And as I said, me and my husband, we just said, okay, this is now our summer vibe. Absolutely love it. So, and you know what? For it's not high in alcohol, but for that, if you look at the glass, the viscosity, it really has nice tears as well. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
loving it, guys. So you
It's,
Well,
have to
and
try
that's what
this.
I was surprised with this one too, Bev, is just the finish, right? It's
yeah.
got quite a long finish considering it's only 12%. Like I was quite surprised by that, but I think it's just this, there's a bit of slight like bitterness, grapefruit that you get with it that just lingers. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's just wonderful.
Yours, Vanessa, although it's a pet nat, it was made in a more intricate style where there was some fermentation that happened in oak, some in tank, then
Yes.
combination, then in bottle. So they did a lot of stuff on this, which I think even makes it more attractive to me because of that
Yeah.
complexity on there.
Yes.
Um, but Raquel, you said some really interesting things I wanted to address when you're talking about your wine and your dish. Now, I don't take my word for it, everybody, but I know it's true. I would love for you to Google what I'm saying. So when you Google things like, what does umami, because that's the category that our food, we have like those sensory, what our palates pick up. So umami is where our food would fall into. What does umami do to wine? And a lot of people and pundits will say, well, you know what, umami is going to make the wine seem like highly acidic and so astringent, and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's because, again, they say those things because they don't know. I will tell
Right.
you, if I have a white wine that's got great acidity, still balanced, you still get like a great hint of stone fruit and tree fruit on the nose. Maybe it's seen some lees aging, so on the palate it's quite smooth. And if I take spice and I put that with it, what spice actually does, so it's important to not just write about things, but to actually try it. What
Yeah.
spice actually does, it's going to mute noise that's happening in the wine. Your acidity is working with the spice, it tempers the spice a little bit. But then what also happens is the fruit, because everything's muted now, the fruit, it gets a
Comes
chance
out.
to play a lot more on the palate.
Yes.
So the Shannon, if you try it on its own, it's going to be delicious. Like, who doesn't like Shannon? I guess
It's
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
drinking
does,
wine
seriously.
too.
right? But when you now add food to it, like those fruit notes that you were getting, like the apricot and the citrus, like the citrus now becomes, instead of like lemon lime, it now becomes more like slightly clementine-ish. You know what I mean? Like it gets a little bit more ripe
Yeah.
on the palate.
Hmm.
And that's what the spice does to it. So when you're Googling those things and what to pair with your food, I strongly suggest Google's a great place to start, but I think starting with like lining up a bunch of wines and just tasting it with your food. And Raquel, like you proved by your explanation of pairing your wine, the Shannon, with your dish, how wonderfully those two things went together.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I got to break the rules, right? Like you wouldn't typically, like people would look and go, why would you have a white wine with a tomato-based sauce? Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, you know me,
Exactly.
Bev, I'm a rule breaker, right? So like, let's put the oxtail with something different. Let's, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't we do that?
Yes.
No,
And
I agree.
sauces to me makes a huge difference with how you pair the wines as well. Because, this wine would go beautifully with veal as well.
Absolutely.
Veal with also my steam sauce or a sweet and sour sauce as well. I mean, just get out there and explore. Don't allow anyone to tell you, oh, that's never going to work. This is, just get out there and taste. And you'll see how well the wine really complements these dishes.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned Beverly spices. This wine is just perfect with spices. This sauce have a lot of, some thyme in it, peppercorns, would give it that a bit of zestiness. And it's amazing because it is that umami feel that you get in your mouth, that beautiful mouth feel that just I always say that when you taste umami, you feel it. It like coats the tongue, it
That's
coats
right.
the palate, and it's like, damn, that was delicious. I gotta do that again.
I agree. And this wine that Raquel's talking about, the Chinon Blanc, which is made of Chenin Blanc, in Chinon, in that appellation in the Loire, only 2% of the plantings is dedicated to this grape. So this wine in the case is like super, super special. So another reason why, like, it's an amazing thing to get a chance to try. I will tell you that I tried both wines today with a soft cheese, cured meat, and jerk chicken, um, just to see which one I felt would go better with what. Uh, the Chenin, I wonder with jerk chicken. Like that whole thing with the fruit getting a chance to play on the palate, so amazing. Your wine also went well, but not as good as the Shannon. But your
Yes.
wine did wonders with the soft cheese and the cured meats and
Yes.
so I'm thinking out on the patio in the summertime, like whatever comes off the grill, like this is like a workhorse.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
My husband was saying like we're having curry beef for dinner tonight, and he thought like I wonder what this would be like, and I was like, oh, a little bit of that bitterness from the garam masala and whatnot. I'm not sure, but we'll try it anyways, and I'll let you know.
That's exactly what it's all about, is
Yeah.
experimenting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we talk about Spring into Spice like this fun outdoor festival, but I'm hoping that people understand or learn that you can pair like any food with wine. It's just you have to explore to figure out what you like. And then I'm also hoping that some serious conversations happen too, like why have we not paired our food with wines before? And when you have those conversations, there's conversations about our history as humankind that start to come out. And then, I'm hoping from those conversations, and they're always easier if you can do them over like, a glass of wine and break bread with someone to have those conversations. If from Spring into Spice, one person leaves with a little less bias around one person's food culture, I think we've done our job. And so more than just tasting wine and eating food at Spring into Spice, for me, it's about having dialogue. And
Yeah.
so I appreciate you guys joining me to have dialogue about these wines.
And I mean, that's one of the reasons I wore this, Bev. So this T-shirt, A Shift in Consciousness is the Beginning of Change. It's from the Anthropocene exhibit at the AGO, which is more about the environment. But this applies to so many things. We need to change the narrative and our thinking and perception around everything, including culture. And again, like you said, it's not about the wine and the food. It's the dialogue. And I think that's when we start to shift that, so many things can happen. And it opens up like a world of conversation and relationships, and dialogue, and all those things. So yeah, really important. You're doing some good work, Bev.
Oh God, and you guys too. Raquel, would you mind telling everybody again your websites for where they can go to get the recipe of what you made tonight, and also your sauces?
Okay, so the website is islandgirlwithayou.foods.com, and you can also find out what stores in your area have my sauces. And as I said, these are culinary finished sauces, so you can literally just open up this bottle and let's just say you guys got one of those rotisserie chickens from Costco. I'm talking dinner in 10 minutes, just add some bell peppers. There's bell peppers work excellent with this wine as well. So bell peppers, any of your favorite vegetables, even Bora, whatever you want. And you just heat this sauce up, and I'm telling you, you can transform dishes. Tomorrow I'm on CBC going around Canada. We're talking about inflation and how people can save money. And this is one way, I mean, you have meat, or it's good with plant-based meals as well. You have this in your refrigerator. So now think about how to transform, and sauces help, right? Most meals just have a nice tomato-based sauce. We have jerk sauces. We have, stuff with coconut. I love using, in the Bahamas, we also have a sauce called coconut fricassee, using the first cream of the coconut, and it's very savory. And, you just experiment, pair these dishes with wines, transform your meat, bring that protein back to life in your refrigerator with sauces. I know everyone is busy and you don't have time like your grandmothers did to basically slow cook, meals and sauces and soups and all these different things. But this really takes care of it. I'm talking about 10 to 15 minutes. My kids don't even know how many times I transform a chicken or pork chop. Like, my mom is wonderful. She cooks it from scratch every day. I just love her transforming and save myself time. I'm cooking for a living.
That's awesome.
And when I come home, it's quick meals for me too. So 30-minute meals is the key. But you make it taste as if, you made it all day in the kitchen. So
that's awesome.
check it out, guys.
uh, Vanessa, before I let you go, I want to know, because you oftentimes pair wine with your foods at home, and you make a lot of Caribbean dishes. Is there a wine that's like your go-to that you always try to have on hand to pair with your foods?
So I'm doing a lot of seafood, like spicy fishes, seafood. The other day I made a jerk fish with okra, and we had a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. And interesting, like I thought, I mean, so it's the fruit with the spice. That's what I like about the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. But I will often pull like a like a Riesling into the dish, or a Shannon. Like I love a Shannon with, I stay away from like oaked whites I just find that the oak, especially like a Californian, will really take over. But when I'm cooking like a spicy fish, which I've been doing a lot recently, I'll often pull in like a Riesling or a Shannon or something like that. Yeah.
Love Riesling. Oh.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, who
Yeah.
does? Raquel,
And
I want.
do you get that because it's summer, you're totally in seafood vibe? I don't know what you, whenever
Yes.
you
And
know, and
rosés,
really we're the
actually,
end of
a
spring,
lot
but
of, yeah, a
everything is
lot of
seafood for me
rosés
right
too.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I agree. Lots of seafood. Oysters, Bev. Oysters.
Oh, you know me and oysters. That's my
I
jam.
know you. I know.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
Raquel,
I love oysters.
how about you? When you had the wine lounge, the restaurants in the Bahamas, did you find that there was a certain type of wine that you always kept in stock because it went well with your foods that were traditional to the island?
Oh, geez, there were so many favorites, but I have to say when it came to white, there's a small winemakers, as I mentioned to you, that we really love, the small family-sized winemakers rather than big names because there's a lot of gems right there in those wineries, right? And one of them happened to be Tinsley. It's a California wine, and he actually used to mix Chenin Blanc, the grape, with like DNA. And
Mm.
I mean, his wines were just delicious, and they were in demand, especially in the Bahamas, where it's hot all the time. So I find that white wine, whether it's Riesling, Chenin Blanc, Sauv Blanc, DNA, um, I could go on. They work well in the Bahamas, and the lighter reds too. I
Mhm.
love a nice Pinot Noir during the
Mhm.
summer, and some Pinot Noirs work really well with seafood and lighter dishes as well. So and of course I'm a carnivore. Sorry to all the vegans, but yeah, and I like a nice full bodied cab
Yes.
with some tannin, you know,
I
with
feel
a
like
nice
that's what I'll
big
end up
juicy
with my
steak
curry
on the
beef
grill.
tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if your cab has seen a little bit of like thoughtful oak integration.
Yes. Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
wonderful with the curry.
yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
What
I want
about
to
you,
So
make sure you
Bev?
guys.
needless to say, like Vanessa, we have wine with all of our meals in this
That's right.
household,
That's right. Yep.
and we're happier for it. Cheers.
Cheers. I agree. Cheers is true.
What about you,
Um,
Bev? What are you pairing with your food these days?
oh, you know what? I'm like experimental, Bev. Like
Yeah.
I do everything. Um, you guys know for sure there's always like a bottle of sparkling in the fridge ready to go at any
Yes.
time. I think sparkling is something that you should have on hand. There's like affordable sparkling wine. You don't have to get baller champagne, but you can have regular sparkling and just have it at home. Sparkling wine is by far the best food pairing wine we have, hands down. So that's always a constant. And then my friends, some of them are on here, will tell you that sometimes when I bring them over, I'm like, we have one plate of food. I'm going to give you 5 wines. Now you drink the wines and tell me what works for you. So it's always a lot of experimenting happening
Experimenting.
in this kitchen,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to get ideas of what I would like to pair. Suzanne is saying yes, for sure. We love sparkling too. Yeah,
Love
exactly.
sparkling.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about a nice chilled Gewürztraminer?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gewurz. I love a good, nice made Gewurztraminer on the patio, nice and chilled conversation. Um, You know what's a challenge for me, although I experiment so much with food and wine pairing, is some gewurz will have a lot happening in terms of the flavor and profile on the nose that competes with food. But I'm still on the search, still on the hunt. I would love to do, maybe that's a new challenge. I do a dinner and it's like only Gewürztraminer and food. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a bunch of dishes in that case to just try those out, right? I like Gewürz. It's just got to be really, really, really cold. Gewürztraminер's got to be super cold for me.
Yes.
Because it can be.
Peely Island makes a really nice one as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We do incredible wines in this
charcuterie
country.
board wine. I love it with cheeses, a cheese board, a charcuterie board, for the summer.
Yeah. You said Peely Island. Now, Peely Island's Gewürztraminer is different than
like an Alsatian or something.
Yeah, it's different than the traditional. You don't get as much of that soapy-ish thing happening and lychee thing happening there.
Yeah.
And that obviously has to do with soil and climate and winemaking. So their Gewürz becomes a lot easier to pair with wine.
Gewürz and Escovitch fish. Yes.
Ooh, nice.
Sweet and spice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. You guys, I've run out of questions for you, but I want to thank you so much for doing this. And I know you both have 2 other bottles from the mixed case as well. Like Raquel, I am dying to get your thoughts on this Vasco Croft Sparkling Red 2009. The Afros wines are like cult favorites. This guy does wonderful, wonderful stuff from Portugal in terms of the movement of biodynamics, natural, organic, all that good stuff. Really, really interesting wines. But a sparkling red. Is that a
sparkling red? Ooh.
It's a sparkling red. And I can't wait to try it.
So that's also in the case. And I think for some people, it'll be like, what is happening here? But I think it's interesting to try wine from such a fantastic producer and a different style as well. And then V, you have the Rioja.
Yes.
Which is another like wonderful food pairing wine. When I was tasting through this, like I drank this a couple of days with meals. So I'd love to get your thoughts on what you guys
might have that with my curry beef tonight.
There you go. There you go. And it doesn't have that American oak on it.
Oh, okay. Oak. I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah, but not that heavy coconut dill thing from American oak. So it'll be good. Yeah.
I was thinking when you said you have the Rioja, I'm thinking right away of Guyanese fried rice with that.
Oh, I just had that the other day.
Paella. Hey, that Guyanese fried rice puts paellas to shame.
Yes. Listen, Raquel, we're going to have to do this again where we're actually doing like a cooking segment with you.
Yeah, in person?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here for it. Yes, let's do it.
I will not be cooking. I will
nor will I.
Yeah.
You guys just bring the wine.
We'll bring the wine. You cook. We'll all be happy.
That's right.
Thank you guys so much. Again, Spring into Spice mixed case, but more importantly is Spring into Spice at the end of the month, May 28th. The link is there. That's our Outdoor Food and Wine Festival, the very first ethnic food and wine festival in Canada. Come out and make history with us. It's going to be a blast.
So good.
Get that dialogue going, get the pairing going. We've got great music as well. We've got Steel Pan, DJ Carl Allen, Beats United, Junior T. We've got a bunch of DJs. Great seminars as well for those of you who want to get geeky and sit in a room and study a bit for an hour. We've got
I signed up for one of those.
All the detail at Spring into Spice. I want to thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Nice to meet you, Raquel.
Raquel.
Pleasure, Vanessa.
IslandGirlFoods.com.
IslandGirlFoods.com.
All right, and that's girl with a U.
Yes.
With a U, yes.
And then you can get an idea of where you can find Raquel's sauces, which Loblaws near you, and also the recipes as well from Raquel, especially the recipe she used tonight to go with that, Shannon. So if you get the case, you know what to make.
Won't regret
Thanks, ladies. Cheers.
Ciao, you guys. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Ciao.
Ciao.